Hey guys, welcome back to Soul Shift. It's me, Dani, and I'm excited you're here for another week. Last week, we had my husband Christopher on the podcast, and we talked about our ectopic pregnancy, our miscarriage, our chemical pregnancy, our healthy pregnancy, which was a journey, but baby girl's here. And he liked having him on. A lot of my guy friends let me know it was cool to get the male perspective. Um, and he liked it. He had a lot of fun. So don't be surprised if you hear from him again soon. But today we are talking about taking a leap of faith because I am sure at some point you have found yourself standing on the edge of a big decision, just trying to figure it out and wondering, am I really going to do this? Because I have. I have, and I still am. And I want you guys to know that whether it is switching careers or starting a business or navigating relationships, when you're trusting the process, that can take a lot of strength and it feels very uncertain and uncomfortable. But girl, let me tell you, that's where the magic happens. And that sounds crazy, but it's really true. And I can tell you a little bit about it. Let's just start with my first major career change, which for me was when I decided to leave my teaching career. So, if you've been wondering, here you go. Here's the story. After about 10 years of fully pouring my heart into education, and I loved it. I loved my students. That was the best part of my job. And I'm telling you, if I could have just taught those children and made creative lessons forever without all the other stuff. Like, I want to say I would have done it forever, but I just didn't make enough money to do it forever. Truly. The love of the job wasn't the issue. I loved my students and I loved what got to do with my students. It was just the pay, the work life balance, and the fact that I felt like I just wasn't teaching them anymore. And I always said early on from like year 1 and 2, if it gets to a point where I am not enjoying this and I feel like my energy is transferring to these kids and it's not positive, if it gets to a point that I can't leave whatever I'm carrying in the car and come into this room and be Mrs. Seide, the one that they know, then I'm going to leave. And in 2021, that happened. My baby was at home. We had just got through COVID. We didn't have daycare really. We were going through family members, and that kind of dissolved and wasn't working out. And it was stressful. It was stressful. I didn't like leaving her. It was a lot when I got home because we were just post COVID. I think we're still hybrid around that time. Like kids were, some were still virtual, some were in person. It was a lot. And I felt like I wasn't teaching. And it happened where I got out of the car while I was driving to work, and I was so just, I didn't want to be there. I was just like, why? Why do I have to keep doing this? And my husband told me, fun fact, like 2020 quit. Like we'll figure it out, be at home. And I didn't. I couldn't just, let it go. And in 2021, I got out of my car one day. I don't remember the exact month, but it was that school year. And I didn't go inside and feel like I could be just normal, joyful, excited Mrs. Sade for my kids. And that day I found myself giving them like busy work, which is, if you know me as teacher, that's not me. I don't give my kids busy work. I put in the work. We do activities, we do fun things, we play games, we go outside. I don't hand them a worksheet. And I did that for like 2 days in a row. And that's when I knew that I was feeling the pull and something inside telling me that it's time to go. And I was so comfortable as a teacher. It makes me want to cry almost. I really loved it. I really did. And I loved those kids. Oh, I still have connections with my kids. Some of their parents still message me. I've been invited to graduations. I love them and I love the impact I could have on them. But it just wasn't sitting right. And I was doing disservice to my daughter, to myself, to my husband, and to the kids in my class because my heart wasn't in it anymore. And I knew it was time for a change, but that was terrifying because you're always going to need teachers. And I know that that is a solid, sure thing that I could do forever. But I knew I didn't want to do it forever, and it wasn't sustainable for me to do forever. And that's something that we don't really talk about a lot. The fear that comes with leaving something stable for something that's truly unknown, like whether it's, the career shift or a relationship where you're not ready, if you're not sure if you're ready to go to the next step, or even if you're in the right relationship. I've been in that situation too where it just was easy and it was stable, even though I knew I wasn't fully happy. I knew that this is okay. I could do it. And being uncertain about what comes next, being uncertain, like not knowing if you're making the right choice all the time, it messes with your head. But here's the thing, you cannot wait until everything feels perfect, because I'm hitting things on my desk, y'all. It never will. And that's just a fact. It will never be perfect. It will never feel 100% perfect. And that's really the essence of taking a leap of faith. It is scary, but you just do it anyway. Let me tell you the story of meeting my husband, Christopher. And if you don't know the story, here you go. It's just a podcast of probable unknowns for a lot of people in my family. But I met my husband, Christopher, in a bookstore in Bowie, Barnes and Noble. And it was the most like rare, unheard of leap of faith situation ever. I am not a person who just meets a stranger and is like, hey, let's be, close. Let me tell you my life and let's hang out. I'm open with people. I can talk to people. I can get along with anyone. I can go into a room and make friends, but I'm definitely not letting you be too close to me, because in the back of my mind, I feel like you could maybe possibly kill me, That's just me. I listen to too much true crime. But I met him in Barnes and Noble. I had a clinic because I was in college at Bowie State University. And my roommate and I went to Barnes and Noble. Actually, no, my roommate was not with me when I first went to Barnes and Noble. I went there to get books for my clinic, for a kindergarten clinic that I had. And I was struggling. I'm short. I'm 5'2", if you didn't know. And here comes this guy. He's like, do you need help? And I'm like, yeah. Can you help me? Can you take these up to the counter for me? And that's not even like me. I would have just figured that out. But I was like, yeah, sure. So he takes it to the counter for me. I get my books, and he says, do you want to go to dinner? Now, anyone that knows my husband, he's very comfortable and talkative and not shy around people that he knows and loves and feels comfortable with. Christopher is not walking up to a stranger in the bookstore and saying, hey, can I help you out? And he's certainly not the type to be like, hey, can I take you to dinner? Like, he is not, that is not him. And I'm definitely not the one to say yes. So already Jesus is in the midst of this, because this right here was just meant to be, because this would have never happened otherwise. If God didn't have his hand in it, this would have never happened. But he asked me to go to dinner. It's called Duclaw. It's gone now, but Duclaw was right in the town center. And I said, sure. So I immediately text my roommate Bree. I text her and I was like, you have to come to the town center. I just met this guy. He's asked me to go to dinner. I don't know him and I don't want to die. Like, that's literally what I said to her. And Bree she's a ride or die. She really was like, I'm coming. I'm on my way. She drove over to the town center and she came to the restaurant just to make sure everything was going to be fine. Long story short, that's how we met. And we started dating. I think that was like April 27th or something. May 2nd, he officially asked me to be his girlfriend. We've been dating since then. May 2nd, 2015, I started dating this guy I met in the bookstore. We have been together for almost 10 years now. We have a baby and things are still great. I'm with my best friend. I moved in with him. I think, what was that? That was 2016, like July 2016, we moved in together. By November 2016, we were engaged. September 2017, we got married. We had an ectopic and all that stuff y'all heard about last time. Then we had our baby. We had Nova Girl in June of 2019 because we found out we were pregnant Well, back up from there. We bought a house right after our wedding too. So we got married September, bought a house in December, found out about the ectopic in January ish, then had our miscarriages and stuff. Got pregnant again, found out that on our one like around our 1 year anniversary in September of 2018. Officially found out we were pregnant in December of 2018. Nova came June 2019, and now we're just living life. And that was a leap of faith, y'all, because everything in me on a normal Danielle day, I'm not going to dinner with this guy I don't know. Not to mention, he wasn't even from Maryland. This guy is from Ohio. He's not even from my state. Which, looking back, such a good thing. Like, thank the Lord. I needed something new. But then I would have absolutely said no, but that leap of faith, Lord, best decision I ever made. We are happily married. We're still growing together every day. And I've just learned that you don't have to have every single step figured out just to take the next one. Sometimes you just have to move forward with faith and knowing that what is meant for you won't pass you by. If you get nothing else out of this, please know that whatever is meant for you is for you and it will not pass you by. It's going to come to you eventually. The hard part is just believing that. Every single morning, I say 3 things. I read them, say it to myself, but every morning I focus on these 3 things. They are in my notes and I share with anyone that needs it. The first one, Lord, make it happen in the most impossible way so that they know it couldn't be anyone but you. And what I mean by that is I want God to use my life to be a witness, I don't want to run around having to preach to people. I just want God to use my life. Let them see what you can do with me. So they know that it couldn't be anything but God that did that for her. I pray that every day. And he is doing that. The path that I'm on now, the opportunities that I have now in work, that's nothing but God. This is all God that has done this for me. And everything that I'm going to do, I truly believe that. And I say that and I ask God every day, just use me. So they know it was you every day. And I focus on that. And I trust that because I'm believing that and asking God that every day, that's what's happening. He's using me every day. And the steps that I'm taking are through him. Number 2, let go and let God, AKA trust God and chill. When I tell you, I can get I'm probably going to get this tattooed on me. That gets me through everything. Trust God and chill. Just let God handle it and chill out. Stop overthinking it. It's hard, y'all. It is hard because I'm a human. It is hard to just say God's got it and walk away. That's difficult. But doing that, he'll bring you peace. The other thing, which is I tied into this earlier, but what is meant for me is for me and it won't pass me by. I explained that earlier. And the last one, and one of my favorites actually, is Lord, forgive me for making what I'm going through bigger than who you are. If everything I've already said is true to me, if I believe that, if I truly believe that, I can't make my situation or circumstance bigger than who God is. I can't say, I trust God and he's got it, and then still be stressed out and being angry or nasty about a situation. I had to learn a lot of that in 2021 with my career change. My uncle passed away that year. My grandmother passed away that year. There were a lot of things that I had to just accept and say that God's got it and he's got me. And that has been hard. It's not to say that this is all sunshine and rainbows, right? Like there are so many times where things don't go as I planned them. I remember when I first made the leap from teaching into business and marketing, it was not smooth sailing. It was not smooth sailing. The first few months were tough. I doubted myself constantly. Like, is this even the right move? Should I just stayed where I was comfortable, where I knew I could do the job? But every time that I lean into the fear and uncertainty, I grew. Like the more I put myself in the situation where I had to figure it out, I grew. I became more successful. And that has continued on. And it was like each challenge I faced was a lesson that I needed for the next level in my life. And it's so worth it. I love marketing. I love it. I really do. And I love the connections, and it has led to opportunities that I had never would have imagined. It's taken me around the US and even Mexico, and it never would have happened if I didn't just, trust God and chill, honestly. Sometimes it's not about the end results. It's about the growth that just happens along the way. And I think that's really the beauty of trusting the process. It may not go the way you thought. And a lot of times it is not going to go the way you thought, but you really do come out of it stronger and more resilient and with a clearer understanding of who you are and what you will accept and what you're capable of. And that sucks to hear. I know early it just sucks to hear when you're going through something and people are like, this will make you stronger. You're going to learn from this. If that's one thing that'll piss you off during that moment, is someone telling you how much this crappy situation is going to help you. But it is true. When you calm down and get through it and look back, it's true. You have learned something. There are things you're not going to do anymore. I have been through things that were terrible, and I will not repeat those mistakes because of what I have been through. I have learned from those mistakes and those interactions. They were terrible. I was going through it, but they were necessary. So here's some practical advice. If you are like on the edge and you're contemplating something, I hope so far that you have more courage. But here are some things that I would tell you if we were, in the room together. Number one is just take small steps. Every single leap does not have to be a giant jump. Sometimes it's just about taking very small, consistent steps toward your goal. Don't be stagnant. Don't stop, but just take small steps toward the goal. When I transitioned from teaching, I didn't just wake up and quit. Like I told you, this was a gradual thing. I made a plan. I did a ton of research. I networked in the field. A lot of people didn't know, but I was in there. I started in risk management actually and built up my confidence, made the connections that I needed. And before I knew it, I had everything that I needed to make the switch. Well, not everything, but I was pretty close to having everything that I needed. And I did it. And it was scary, but it's working out. Number two, lean on your support system. It could be a career, relationship, just personal growth. A support system is going to be necessary. There were countless nights where my husband had to just be up and listening to me feel like I was losing my mind, just trying to figure out what came next. And not to say it doesn't happen now. When I tell you that my husband, he brings peace to my mind gets so jumbled sometimes because I'm still growing. I'm still trying to figure out what's next. That's one of my, I don't want to say it's a flaw, but it could be considered a flaw. I am never satisfied with where I am. I am always thinking about what is next. And that's been since I was little. I am always looking for what is next. Where do I go from here? I don't want to be stagnant. I never want to be stagnant. So even though someone could look at me and say, wow, you're doing it, this is great, I don't feel that way. And I'm working on it. But Christopher, we have a lot of conversations about it, of him bringing me back to reality and just helping me sort through the jumbleness that happens. You have to have people in your life that believe in you and lean on them. They can give you your extra push when you're feeling unsure. And for me, that is my husband. You have to embrace that fear. It's difficult, but you have to do it. Fear isn't a bad thing. In fact, it is a sign that you're growing, because if you weren't afraid, that probably means you're too comfortable. You're not growing. You're in autopilot at this point. Lean into the fear, because that's how you're going to grow. And just remind yourself that fear and excitement often live in the same place. They really do. Because it's exciting to try something new. The unknown can be exciting. And the only way to know what's going to happen is to just do it. Just take the leap. Number 4, which is probably the most important on the list, is to celebrate the small wins. We get so caught up in waiting for the big moment. And I do too. I really do. When something little happens, my mom or they're always like, oh, that was great. Like, you should celebrate this. And I'm looking for the big moment. Like, I don't need to celebrate this. I need to celebrate that main goal. And I do. I forget to celebrate the small victories sometimes, but that's important. When you start to see little progress in your career or in that next relationship, remind yourself to acknowledge those moments. You got to cheer for yourself, even if no one else is watching, I didn't tell anyone what I was doing for work for almost a year. People that I worked with at school still never really knew what I was doing because I was still unsure. They probably still don't know. Like, they have no idea why I left. I think they knew I was, headed to California. They did know that, but they didn't really have all the details because I didn't want to share them. I mean, that's just the truth. I didn't have all of them. I didn't want to share them. And I thought it was best to move in silence with my circle and figure it out. And that's what I did. And if they listen to this now, they know. So maybe it's career change, maybe it's relationship shift, maybe it's just trusting yourself more. Whatever it is, just know you're not alone and feeling scared, uncertain, or overwhelmed. But girl, don't let it stop you. Trust the process, even when it doesn't make sense. I'm not going to say it's easy, as I've mentioned so many times before. It is not easy. You will have moments where you want to turn back and just question everything. But believe me when I say there's a whole world of possibility waiting for you if you're just willing to step into that unknown. And sometimes taking the chance is the only way to grow and be the person that you're meant to be. So to wrap up, if you're standing on the edge of a leap, career, personal life, anywhere else, take a deep breath. Remember this podcast and go for it. Go for it. The net will appear. It always does. And remember, we are all just figuring it out as we go, no matter what it looks like. No one really knows what the heck they're doing. Social media is not real. It's not. No one knows what they're doing. No one has it all figured out. Everyone's got their crap. Thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you, or if you're going through a season of change, hit me up, please. I'd love to hear y'all's stories and read your comments. I get a lot of DMs, but you can comment too, and unless you're uncomfortable. I never really pondered the fact that maybe y'all don't people in your business. Keep DMing me if you want. You can leave comments as well. I would love to talk to you, as we do every week. And you deserve it. You deserve to live fully and to grow and to just leap into what's next for you. I can't wait to hear what y'all are working on and support you as well. Until next time, stay strong, stay resilient, and keep embracing the shifts. Bye.